but I just want to clear up what this channel is about. Basically, if you wake up every morning and you pledge allegiance to one of these two flags and you denounce one of these two flags, this channel isn't for you. Good morning. On my channel today, I'm out on another ride. I want to touch on the castle doctoring laws that the US have and that Canada doesn't have. I want to touch on that, but first I want to explain briefly who I am and what my channel Dewey Roams is about. I started this channel. Well, I've been a member of YouTube since 2014, but I haven't contributed any content on this channel until I don't know, about mid 2024. I think it was April or May of 2024. I started uploading content, and subsequently I've uploaded quite a few videos, and I have a couple subscribers. It's a very small channel, but in the last week, my channel, for the small size that it is, has grown substantially, and based on the scope of my channel, based on where it started to where it is now a week later. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of let people know who I am and why I do these videos. When I first started with the videos, it's like a channel about just me navigating around Toronto in urban environments, urban woods. I did a little traveling across Canada last year. I went from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I did that by train. Then I flew from the West Coast to the East Coast, and all points in between. So I have a good flavor and good knowledge of what this country represents. So, and in doing so, I like putting eyes on what I talk about. Basically, I was born and raised in Toronto. I was born in 1969, so I'm 55 years old. In the town of Weston here, I actually went to Weston Collegiate High School. This was the old borough of York. I was born in the borough of York. I lived outside of Toronto for approximately 10 years when I was married. I'm divorced now. My ex-wife is of Filipino descent. She was a Filipina. And I grew up at Gin and St. Clair, and I grew up with diversity. From a very young age, I knew what Toronto was all about. It was multi-ethnic. Back then it was huge. Back then, the ethnicity variances were huge back then, and they still are today. So, being in this environment of Toronto, it's I know it well. But there might be a little confusion with regards to my channel, and the confusion is that I lean right of center. I'm not far right. I used to be more of a centrist, but since the Liberal government took over in 2015, with Justin Trudeau becoming Prime Minister, and subsequently Mark Carney becoming Prime Minister in April of this year, I've had to become more vocal with regards to pointing out glaring discrepancies in the way the Liberal government runs this country. So behind me is a war memorial for World War I and World War II veterans that I knew was here, and I came here today to look at it, and I never laid eyes on it before. And if I did, it was when I was a teenager, and I don't remember it. So I posted a video about Pierre Poilievre winning his riding out in Alberta there 2 days ago, and I got a pretty good response. So, and I got some people on the left, I have to assume they're on the left, with some negative responses, and you know what, I got thick skin, I get it, but I just want to clear up what this channel's about. Basically, if you wake up every morning and you pledge allegiance to one of these two flags and you denounce one of these two flags, this channel isn't for you. Basically, the way the Carney government has rolled out his foreign policy, and the way our Premier Doug Ford has all of a sudden become has become a foreign affairs minister for Mark Carney. I don't know who gave him that unofficial role. And he's at every time there's a camera put in Doug Ford's face, he's slandering Donald Trump. Now, obviously, they're wedging a spike in between relations between these two countries. They're putting a spike in between Canada and the U.S. Now, I'm going to tell you something about that from where I stand. I think that's a huge mistake. We have history that dates back with the United States centuries. We have fought and died alongside of them in the First and Second World War. We had 134 Canadians die in the Vietnam War. They volunteered, and they weren't drafted. They didn't have to go sign up for the U.S. military. 134 Canadians died in the Vietnam War, and I believe it was 500. I believe between 300 and 500. Don't quote me on that, but it's around there that died in the Korean War, Canadians. So we've stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States for centuries. Sure, we've had our differences over the years, 1812 war, and okay, I get it. But to turn our back on the United States because of what is perceived to be, a bad person in Donald Trump is ridiculous. This country is very, very reliant on the United States to survive. The way Carney is and Doug Ford and I guess other provincial politicians, the way they're setting it up, they're setting it up to drive us away from the United States and to align ourselves with, officially, to align ourselves with Europe, with Great Britain and France. Now, I don't know if you understand what's going on in Great Britain and France. It's been invaded. Both those countries are on the brink of collapsing. So all Western democracies seem to be playing from the same playbook, and that is to import as much chaos into their countries as possible from other countries that don't share the traditional ideological values of Western societies. So there's going to be conflict, of course. The infrastructure doesn't support the influx of immigration. The medical infrastructures, the judicial infrastructures don't support all this added immigration that is coming through at alarming rates. So it doesn't make sense to me. Well, it does. I know what they're doing, but it doesn't make sense to me why they would want to do that. You take a population of Canada, I think that was like 33 million in 2015 when Trudeau came in, and now it's 39 million, 40 million. I heard 41 million. I don't know. It's a lot of people came in the last decade. And trust me, from a street level, because that's what I do, I am on the street level. I'm a poor guy. I have, I would say, average intelligence. My vision is not what it used to be, but it doesn't take someone that's a genius to figure out that something very bad is going to happen. Our economy is, in my opinion, is on the brink of collapse. The housing market is going to burst. The price of housing has been overinflated for a long time because they're allowing offshore people to come in and buy our houses in neighborhoods all over Canada, mostly on the West Coast and the GTA area. And it's inflating the prices. That's why, like a house across the street, I'm not saying that big house there, that's a nice house, I know that house, but just say this little bungalow here, number 15. This area is not good. You're surrounded by crime. That house there, with that piece of property, it's got to be $1.3 million, $1.4 million. It's got to be, even in today's market. At the height of our prices in Canada in 2021, that house would be close to $2 million. That little bungalow there. So do the math on what you need for a down payment, do the math on the interest rates and what your monthly mortgage payment will be, and you're not going to get into a house. So unless you bought back in the early 90s, whatever, 80s, 70s, whatever. But my point being is that we can't sustain with our current infrastructures the influx of people. Now, one thing you got to be cognizant of as well is the crime rates are going up. Okay, murders in Toronto have gone down in 2025 compared to 2024 by about 50%. I'm just throwing that number out there, but it's about that. I think we're on our 25th murder in Toronto, which is, coming to the end of August, that's unheard of. But other violent crimes have skyrocketed. Now, the catch and release system, which I touched on in some of my other videos, we don't have the capacity to keep all these criminals in jail. We don't have enough space to put them in jail. at the onset of COVID, Doug Ford was going around delivering not delivering ventilators, but delivering N95 face mask, and driving around his pickup truck looking like he was a hero. And at first, I thought he was, until very early on in COVID, I knew it was a scam. But anyhow, then he went on a campaign where he was going to build more hospital capacity. He was going to, I think they bought a whole lot of ventilators, like millions of dollars worth of ventilators that went who knows where. And he was projecting new hospitals being built. But at that time, I was thinking at that time, because like I said, I knew COVID was it was a fugazi. At that time, I was thinking, you know what he should be building and concentrating on building is prisons, because the crime rate, if you bring people into the country at a rate where you can't substantiate it with your infrastructure, what's going to happen? People aren't going to have money, so they're going to start doing crime to get money, and then the desperation is going to kick in, and then the crimes will become violent. So there was a case. I'm going to talk on the Castle Doctrine Laws that they have in the States. In Canada, it's very loosely outlined in Canada what you can do if someone breaks into your house. So in Lindsay, Ontario, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I would say northeast of Toronto. This was like 3 days ago, I think, 3 or 4 days ago. Guy's in his house, and from what I'm to understand, he's sleeping. Another guy broke into his house, and the guy that broke into his house was wanted by the police already. He has an extensive criminal record. So the guy that owned the house, rented the house, whatever, he confronts the intruder, and he lays a beating on him. He, by all accounts, he inflicted, bodily injury on this individual. Now, a lot of people aren't capable of doing that. If someone breaks in your house, a lot of people I know, they're not capable of doing that. They're going to be subject to a home invasion, and they'll be lucky to leave with their life intact. This individual, I don't know who this person is, obviously, but this individual who confronted the intruder, he laid the smackdown on this guy. Now, they charged the Lindsay police, or Kawartha Lakes police, don't quote me on that, one of the police forces out there. They charged the intruder with break and enter and assault charges and whatever else, but they also charged the homeowner with aggravated assault. So, and I think it was aggravated assault, but he's been charged with assault anyways. And if it was aggravated assault in Canada is when you attack someone with a weapon. It's a more serious assault charge. So they released, I don't know about the intruder, but they released the homeowner, but he's been charged. And then Doug Ford goes on in public, and he addresses the case and says it's ludicrous that the homeowner got charged. So more or less, if you're a defense lawyer, you're going to take that to court, that video to court, with your client and say, well, look at even the premier saying he had every right to defend himself, and Doug Ford's right. So I'll give credit where credit's due. Doug Ford's right. But now, our loosely termed stand your ground laws, or if we even, I don't even know what they're called, but our loosely worded defense laws, if someone breaks in your house, it is you got to match force with force. So if someone comes in your house with a baseball bat, you can't shoot them. So you got to attack them with a baseball bat. So this is people. Okay, so a little more background. I've been in a few physical altercations in my life, quite a few, and when I was younger, and some of them have been pretty serious, and that's all I'll say there. But what I can tell you, sometimes if you get into a physical altercation with someone and you think the threat has been nullified, a lot of times it isn't. That person regains their composure or whatever they need to regain, and they come again. So I don't know the situation with the person that owned the house. Could he be a professionally trained fighter? Could he be someone that has been in situations where, like myself, whereas he wanted to make sure the issue was nullified. You don't want someone coming in your house at 2, 3 in the morning with the intent to harm you and steal your property. You don't want that person to keep on getting back up. So it's a slippery slope, to say the least. I'm not going to say what I would do in that situation. I would prefer not to involve the police for that simple reason. And now this guy here, he's probably going to get off in court. He's probably going to get a GoFundMe. He's probably going to get lawyers coming at him pro bono, criminal defense lawyers coming at him pro bono, because it's a high-profile case now, and there's got to be a precedent set, because the police are not there to stop this home invader. They're there to arrest people. A lot, it's very rare the police will break up a home invasion. It happens, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times, the home invaders are long gone and the damages have been inflicted either personally or through loss of property. So, but now if we didn't have a GoFundMe, we didn't have a lawyer that would take up the case pro bono, this guy would have to spend 100 G's to get off this case. Maybe less, I don't know. But the process is the penalty. So the cops don't want, vigilante justice, but in this case, it's not vigilante justice. Put this in perspective. You're at home, you got 2 kids, you got your wife in bed with you. Some guy breaks into your house at 3 in the morning. What are you going to do? If you're capable of doing it, what are you going to do? So the way I look at it, the home intruder is lucky to be alive. That's the way I look at it. And there's that old saying, and I believe it's from, mostly police say this, better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And that means go to court, of course, because who knows what this guy's intentions were? This guy's intentions were to kill everyone in the house. You don't know that. So obviously this person's mental health that does home invasions at 3 in the morning, obviously their mental health is compromised, because it takes mental health issues to break into someone's house and think that you're just going to get away with that. It's someone that has no hope. It's someone that has no cognitive ability to rationally think his way to doing that. It's one of the most dangerous things humanly possible to do, is to break into someone's house at 3 in the morning. I don't care if you got a firearm or what. A guy with a butter knife could take you out. So something has to be done about that. But I'll give credit where credit's due with Dougie Ford. He's flip-flopped, and one day he's a liberal. Well, most days he's a liberal, and the odd time he comes out as a conservative. And anyhow, I don't know. What say you? What is your thoughts on standing your ground, protecting castle doctrine rights? What are your thoughts on it? Leave in the comment section, and hopefully I'll get back to you. Like my last 2 videos, I'm getting lots of comments and all sorts of things, so I'm trying to keep up. I'm doing the best I can. But thanks for watching. If you got any questions or concerns, leave it in the comment section. Thanks, bye. Just coming up through the Weston area at Weston Road in Lawrence, and this brings me into a little park, well, a parking lot and a water pad and splash pad tennis courts at Weston Lions Arena. I come through here at least once a week on my morning ride, and I'm not going to get into why I specifically come here, but maybe in one of my videos I will one day explain why I come through here. Like I said, I'm in the town of Weston, and I specifically came here today to look, to investigate and to pay my respects to I don't know if it's a World War I or World War II memorial, or for both, at Little Avenue Memorial Park. And it's on Little Avenue in the town of Weston. So I've been in this park when I was younger, but I've never looked into the memorial. They have a little band shell over there, but here's a memorial here. Okay, yeah, so the memorial, it covers off both World Wars. The Great War, World War I, 1914-1918, and the Second World War, 1939-1945. On the left panel, it commemorates World War I in memory of those of Weston who made the supreme sacrifice in honor of those who served in the Great War. And on the right panel, to the glory of God in honor of those who served, and to the glorious memory of those who died in the Second World War. And they have and they got even peacekeeping down there too. Okay, and they got a big sword here. Nice, huh? And this is all Humber stone. All this stone was quarried from the local Humber River, I'm assuming. Very nice. Nice little park. Canadian flag over there, and the band shell over there. Let's go read the plaque over here. The founding of Weston. Settlers were attracted to this vicinity in the 1790s by the area's rich timber resources and the water power potential of the Humber River here. By 1792, a sawmill was established on the west bank, and within 2 decades, a small hamlet known as the Humber had developed. About 1815, James Farr, a prominent local mill owner, named it Weston after his English ancestral home. The community subsequently expanded along both sides of the river until 1850, when a disastrous flood destroyed the West Bank settlement. Improvements to the Weston Road and arrival of the Grand Trunk Railway in 1856 simulated substantial further growth on the east side. Incorporated as a village in 1881, Weston became part of the Borough of York in 1967, and I'm a Borough of York product myself. Some guy over there on the bench packing whatever. So it's a nice little street, little avenue, and it's nice. It's very nice. It's a nice enclave. But to my right is what is known now as Little Somalia, Little Mogadishu. So down this little street, or I shouldn't keep on saying little street, but down this little opening here, yeah, nice houses. I don't think I've ever laid eyes on these houses in my life. Oh yeah, that's a nice street. But anyhow.